Okay, so you took a timeout about 4 minutes, I would say, before halftime. And you guys were down 8. And after that timeout, you guys came back and you were leading by 3 by the half. What was talked about during that timeout? And did you think that the team sort of carried that throughout the fourth quarter afterwards?
You know what? I called a timeout because I thought we were being a little selfish with the ball. We weren't sharing the ball, moving the ball the way we'd like to. And every time we do that, we seem to get in trouble. So I just wanted to call a timeout and remind guys, settle down, let's get back to what we do, how we do it. And they got to that, and we got some good stops on defense. And we were successful, running the half with a 3-point lead.
And just one more question. So this was the first series of the season. Are there any adjustments or changes that you guys are looking to make before the next one?
You know what? I mean, we can't give up 100 points in a game. We can't give up 90 points in a game. And that's been our Achilles heel so far in the first part of the season. But again, it's kind of you got to keep things in perspective, right? We're a new group. We've never played with each other. We've been at it for 2 months. You know, that team, we played a really good team today. And, right? It was ninth in the country. And you can see how well they're coached and how well they're played. So for us to be, with us to have a chance to win both games is a positive thing. So you're trying to find all the positives that you can, but understanding that if we want to be successful, we can't give up 90 points a game. So our focus will be defense this week before we make our trip up to Nipissing. Hopefully we see progress, right? And then progress is good. Like I said, been preaching, I think we'll be a pretty good team by the time Christmas rolls around.
Thank you.
All right, so I just want to go back to your point about when you said that, they were being a little bit selfish with the ball. I'm wondering, how do you tell them, how to balance ball movement with just taking the shots? Because there's a lot of shooters on the team.
Right. So our thing is about moving the ball from side to side. And then putting a defense in what we call a closeout situation where they're scrambling to come out against one of our players. And that's when we want to get into attack mode. And when someone plays one-on-one, it's up to them now to read what the right decision is. Is the right decision, am I going to shoot it because I can score? Or if the defense comes, am I going to kick out and create a shot for someone else? And so that just comes from reps and understanding the defense. And again, we're really raw. I mean, if you look at our team, it's such a young group. We scored 100. We shouldn't have lost. We gave up 105. So offensively, when we get selfish, we turn it over and then we give the other team easy buckets. And that hurts us. And so, as we get better with moving the ball and understanding how defenses are actually playing against us and understanding that, we'll be better. But it's all about defense. We could talk about offense all we want, but you got to be able to stop teams from scoring, and we haven't been able to do that so far. Not from a lack of effort. We're not there yet.
Why do you think you guys were turning the ball over so much?
That's a really good defensive team. That's the first thing. Second thing is I don't think, like we've been together for 2 months. We're still figuring out who does what, who's good at what positions we want to put guys in. Sometimes guys are trying to do too much, and that leads to turnovers. So I think a lot of it has to do with trust. You build trust the more you play with people, right? And I think we need to keep building that trust in each other and understanding what each other does really well.
More. Yeah, it felt like in the fourth quarter, you guys kind of lagged a little bit. You let them get out a little bit to a head start. You ran them down. But if you had kept it a little closer, I think you guys could have pulled off the comeback. What do you think happened in the fourth? Why you guys were kind of slow coming out?
You know what? When you watch that team, like they made some big. The guy made a shot from almost the logo, the 3-point shot, number 7 made. He did that in the first game, right? I mean, we're playing good players. We're playing good teams. In terms of, I thought we looked a little tired today. I think our conditioning is not what it needs to be. But again, we haven't trained in since November. We got back. We hadn't trained for 7, 8 months, maybe 9 months. So we can come into practice and we can run. But then you're going to have a guy with an Achilles problem. You're going to have a guy with a knee problem. You're going to have a guy with a groin problem. So anything COVID has taught us that you can't rush things. Because if you try to do too much too quick, our guys, their bodies are not ready for it because they haven't done it. So in actuality, I'm putting them in more, I would say, danger, but I'm putting them at risk in terms of injury, and so I got to keep this in mind. Like, we have Liam playing there on one leg today. He's fighting an Achilles injury. He can only play 2 minutes at a time, right? He has no conditioning because he hasn't practiced all year until this week. So you got to keep things in perspective. I mean, like, once you get to know me, you know I hate to lose. That's not who I am, right? I hate to lose, but I understand that it takes time. It's progress, right? And I have to be patient with our group. I told our guys, like, we're knocking on the door. We're knocking. We're having problems getting through the last door, but we're right there. And so I think when we clean up our defense, we'll be able to open that door and walk through that door.
Coach, you kind of touched on it a bit. If you want to elaborate, talking about the balance between, yes, you guys did lose 2 games, so there's obviously the accountability and the reality of that, but talking about some of the positives that you're looking at. So how do you yourself find a balance, and how do you guys how do you help the guys kind of find a balance within this thing?
I think videotape is always a great tool to teach, right? So we'll watch the video, we'll clip some things and share some things with our team and some individuals, and keep the learning process going. Like, every experience is a learning experience. So these 2 games have been great learning experiences for us. We watched a very good team execute their offense down the stretch, right? That's where we want to get to. That's an example of what a good team does, right? Defensively, I mean, we'll just show them clips in terms of how we got to get better and how much we need to protect what we call the paint and not give up easy buckets or easy penetration, right? And again, it's not from a lack of effort, right? It's just trusting each other and building that trust on defense and supporting each other. Things that you just don't do in 2 months. Some of the great, like, the teams that are successful this year are teams that, one, haven't been in lockdown for 9 months. That's the first thing, right? Everybody in GTA was locked down, so our guys had nowhere to train, nowhere to lift, nowhere to play. Places like Kingston, places like Ottawa, places outside of the GTA, they were still training. So that's at a disadvantage to our guys. And so, again, keep it in perspective. Second thing is, you got 9 new faces who've never played together, right? I don't know how many guys that have played minutes at this level that were meaningful. Tom, Mo, and Liam. Meaningful minutes at this level. A little bit of Jaron Jones. So there's no experience, there's not enough experience to play that level we want to play at right now. We want to get there, and we're going to get there. But again, stepping stones. You got small short-term goals to get to your long-term goal, right? And that's how we're approaching this, And again, don't get me wrong, I hate losing. I'm sure our guys hate losing, but you have to understand that some things take a little longer than other things, and you have to have some patience.
Last one, you kind of touched on it a bit again with the protecting the paint. With the interior defense, it probably wasn't where you wanted it to be today. Is that something you'll look to try to develop your bigs towards, or more with the guards at stopping the penetration at the first level?
I think it's more of a team thing than any position in specific. I mean, the players at this level here now are so talented. All right, people have to understand that every time we play a team, we're playing against good offensive players and teams. And so, not one guy is not going to be able to stop one guy. It has to be a total team effort, and that's because the level of play here is so high. And so, we're going to focus on our team defense. Again, protecting that paint. We try to do something this weekend for this game that we hadn't done up to this point. And at times it was successful, and other times it was just really, really bad. So now we go back and assess that and say, is that something that we want to continue to try, or let's just keep building our base and trust our base and make sure that our base is okay before we get into specific things for specific games.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.